to the country. Working voters remain the voter when it comes to political coalitions in this country. They moved toward President Trump in some respects in 2016, 2020, 2024. President Biden knew in a way how to really work them over with his labor ties. Can he keep that working coalition together or not?
The Business Desk, what is next for businesses, consumers, and the economy after that Supreme Court ruling that struck down many Trump tariffs?
The uncertainty is going to continue.
John Horn, economics professor at the Olin School of Business at WashU.
In some ways, the tariffs that were put in place last year had sort of settled in, and there was not absolute certainty, but it was a little bit more certain of what the levels were, what countries, how it was proceeding.
Horn says many businesses are still trying to hold off passing on the costs of tariffs to consumers to try and retain a competitive edge. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
And it's time for the Wall Street Wrap, sponsored by Stifel and Ophthalmology Associates with Stifel Director of Investments, Eric Roberts. So how do we finish up today?
Both stocks rallied today. The S&P 500 advanced 0.8%, closing at 6,890. The Dow gained 370 points, or 0.8%, closing at 49,174. And the Nasdaq rallied 1%, closing at 22,863.
Oil prices, a lot of oil, could come from Iran.
That's right. The oil prices did stabilize today as investors grapple with a potential military conflict between Iran and the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures slipped 0.2% today, settling at $66.22 per barrel. Now, President Trump's State of the Union address this evening is expected to shed light on the administration's messaging for a conflict with Iran. During a press conference today, President Trump also touched on ongoing tensions with Iran, saying, Iran wants to make a deal more than I do, but they just won't say the sacred phrase, we won't build nuclear weapons.
That is Stifel, Director of Investments, Eric Robert. Thank you, Eric. That's the Wall Street Wrap on KMOX.
We'll have a few clouds around this evening and overnight. It's chilly, but it's not really cold. 39 for the overnight low. On Wednesday, partly sunny, though. It's a day of increasing clouds. 53 Wednesday night clouds, couple of rain showers after midnight. Very light. Could be a couple of wet snowflakes mixed in. 37 Thursday, an early morning leftover shower. Otherwise, partly sunny and dry. 49 degrees, sunny and warm. Friday and Saturday into the 60s. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is a cloudy sky. Right now, 50. That feels like is 39 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, westbound 70 is doing pretty well. There's barely a slowdown around Air Flight. It's a little slow west of 94 to Zembel, and we're a little busy approaching 61. Just a few slowdowns, not much to worry about there. Southbound 170, Ladue to 64 is busy. Eastbound 64, a brief backup 170 to about Big Bend. Westbound 64, Kings Highway out to McCausland, slow west of Clarkson to Topgolf. A backup at 364 briefly, and then it's just off the pace out to Highway 70 from there. Southbound 270, south of 364 through Olive. It looks like there's an incident northbound in about that spot that they were looking at. Northbound is slow from 64 up to that point. The southbound side, that once you get through that Olive area, is just a little busy at Manchester. Then it's good all the way to 55. Westbound 44, approaching River to Pear through Laclede Station's kind of busy. Southbound 55, Arsenal through Bates, a little slow at Merrimack Bottom. Still this jam, Route 3 at 8th Street, a crash blocking. Southbound's jammed back onto the Poplar. Northbound is backed up to Queenie. And eastbound 64 approaching 157, midway to 159 is slow. Next update at 5:20 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up. From now on, if you sprang a leak, need a water heater, or have hard water,
thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical.
Jerry Kelly will fix the leak, install the thing, and make that hard water easy. From the company who's got your whole home covered.
JerryKelly.com. News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, guys, welcome in. It is Redbird Rush Hour here on a Tuesday. Matt Pauley is down in Jupiter. I'm Kevin Wheeler up here in St. Louis. And why don't we just kick it right off with our spring training report?
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Mr. Pauley, how's it going, buddy?
It is good. It's good to see you. A little bit of a different day here in Cardinals spring training
Yeah,
land.
the first
They
night
are
game.
playing. Yeah, for no reason they're playing a weekday night game in spring training. But you know what? It's happening as we speak. I'm gonna head over there as soon as I get done with you. But yeah, that's I'm good with the Friday. I'm not just trying to like come on here and complain, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'm good with the Friday night games. I just don't. It's spring training. There's something about the routine of playing the 1:00 game and then being able to kind of do something afterwards, and folks can go out to dinner at night. So I don't know why they do it this way, but here we are.
Yeah, go figure. They're the road team. Who knows? Anything stand out to you since we spoke yesterday? Obviously, yesterday was a pretty quiet news day despite the game in the afternoon. But did anything pop up today in camp? Was there anything interesting at all?
The only two things that I would say, so Ramon Arias is not going to join the WBC. He was part of Team Mexico. He has made the decision to stay back here and continue to work with the Cardinals.
Right.
So that's the first thing. And then the list of pitchers tonight, Andre Palante is pitching as we speak, but we're going to see Tink Hintz in a spring
How
training
about
game
that?
today.
A sighting.
So he is scheduled to go 1 inning. I'm not sure if he threw 1 or 2 lives. I watched one of them for sure, and I don't remember him pitching another one. But when there's a million of them going on, I'm sure I could have missed something at some point. It was rocky for him on the live that I saw. It was
you posted the video with the kind of the confusion between him and the catcher and the pitching coach coming out from behind the screen and all that.
Yeah, and then he hit a guy in the head. Like, it was just there's a lot going on there. So looking forward to see what he's going to do tonight, because if you can get, and he has said that he wants to be a starter. I think his quote earlier this spring was, "When I look at myself in the mirror, I see a starting pitcher," unquote. Okay, but he's just got to get to the big leagues.
I was going to say, said every reliever in the history of the sport.
Yeah, get to the find the pathway that makes you a major league contributor the fastest. And then if at some point down the road you want to try this starting thing again, the Cardinals have shown they're happy to give relievers that opportunity. Matthew Liberatore is a starter. Kyle Leahy's going to be in this rotation, I think. They're plenty happy to give guys that opportunity. Find yourself to putting yourself in a position where you can help the big league club.
I mean, when he's pitched, he's kind of the forgotten prospect, right? Because not long ago, he would have been one of their top prospects. And part of the reason he isn't anymore as far as like top 5 or 10 is, well, there's 2 reasons. One is the health problems. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. And as evidenced by the fact that he's thrown fewer than 100 innings the last 2 years combined. Actually, I think it's right at 100 innings. Something like that.
He's never gone to 100. He got to 99 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, so he's been playing pro ball since 2021, and he's thrown 257 innings.
Not enough.
So that's 5 seasons of Major League. So, he's averaging 50 innings a year.
Yeah.
And that's the number 1 problem. And then the number 2 problem is that you've added a lot of talent around him, which pushes him a little further down the list because of those injuries. If not for the time missed, he's actually performed. You look at his numbers in the minor leagues, he gets people out, he strikes people out. His command problems last year were pretty significant, but prior to that, they weren't really bad. They were just not good. But at some point, like you said, you got to post, man. And if you can't post, then you have to find another role. And if I'm the organization, I want him to be a starter, but I'm not going to hold my breath. And like, when can that guy be expected to start every 5th or 6th day of the big leagues? Just physically, not even talent-wise, just physically be able to do it. He's 23 now. You're at least 3 years away from that.
Yeah, he's 3 years from being able to push like 160 innings.
Right.
And that's the point here. And last year was a step back for him. He pitched at 3 different levels. Really, he pitched at 2 different levels.
Yeah.
And the ERA was like 4.5 between them all. So.
Well, it was that at the higher levels. At A-ball, he didn't give up an earned run. But at low A, I should say, at high A and at double A, he made 4 starts covering about 14 innings or so. And ERA was probably 4.5 of those 2, right? And that's and again, given his age, right? He's somewhat inexperienced for being 23, but he's 23 now. So you're getting to the point where you're not done. He's not a finished product. I'm sorry, finished as a prospect, But at some point, the team is going to need you to contribute because he's on the 40-man, which means he doesn't have, what's he got, 2 more option years left? So at some point soon, because they used an option last year because he was put on the 40-man last offseason, if I remember correctly.
I'd have to go look at the numbers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. So I guess the point that I'm saying is you're close. You're a year or two away at most from the team having to figure out what to do with you.
Right. And at this 21, you're at a point now, I don't care what you do at single A.
No, he's been at A-ball, he's pitched in A-ball since 2022. He made 16 starts at Palm Beach there in 2022. So, in 2023, he had already reached Springfield, and he didn't have any success at Springfield. And then in 2024, he was back at Springfield, and he was really pretty good. 270 ERA, 109 strikeouts in 79 innings. But still, it's only 79 innings, and it's only 20 starts. And that's not even 4 innings a start.
No, and that's why we've continued to talk about him maybe being in the bullpen. But also, I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit when we're talking about a guy who, again, has been a pro since 2021, and he has 0 AAA innings.
Yeah. And again, it's not his fault. It's not a talent issue. It's just a health issue. And then obviously, so far at least, not a lot of success past A-ball. The AA ERA is probably over 5 combined from a couple years ago and what he did last year. It's good to see him though, and I'm looking forward to seeing him out there because if he can be out there, he's very talented, man. He's got an electric fastball. I'm sure command is going to be a problem because it kind of has been already, and he's missed so much time. You don't refine things like perfecting your command by sitting on the sidelines.
No, you don't. So this is the biggest spring for him, and he will we'll see what ends up happening with him.
Absolutely. So other than that, anything interesting from the day today? Anything story-wise, anything like that?
No, not really. We spent, our generally 10, 15 minutes with Oliver Marmol earlier today. And I didn't think
so. Nothing significant. Is there any indication of when we might start seeing Sajasi in the outfield?
Yeah, that was brought up today. Good question.
Okay, good. Because he's at shortstop today.
Yes. So Ollie would like to see him in the outfield at least once prior to him leaving for the WBC. Now, he's going to play shortstop in the WBC. Ollie was asked today, are you playing him right now a lot at shortstop just to help get him ready for the WBC? And Ollie said, no, that has absolutely nothing to do with it. But it's still something where he's doing a lot of work during the day.
Yeah.
They're going to try to get him to the outfield one game before he is going to before he leaves for the WBC.
Yeah.
And then they'll work him in the outfield more after that. Also, before the week is over, expect to see Ivan Herrera in a game as a DH.
Good.
No timeline yet on when he's going to be catching, but we should see Ivan Herrera as a DH within the week, maybe within 2 days.
Good. It's good to be seeing the bat. They need the bat more than they need the glove, but eventually you'd like to see the glove be a factor. The further this goes, the less I can see the whole catching thing working. I mean, the only way to get better at running a game and calling a game and doing that is doing it. And the only way to get better at throwing is to be healthy and practice throwing. But if you're not practicing throwing, how in the world are you going to be better?
Well, he's not throwing from the crouch, Kevin, but he's throwing. And
I mean with effort and intensity, and you train that all winter long. Like you train that for months to get better at it. You can't just do it in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not trying to push back on what you just said, but I think so. The terminology that Ollie's used on the throwing that they've done with Ivan is that they've reprogrammed his throwing, and they feel really good about the work that they have been able to do. And I've been there watching him throwing from a standing position, trying to use kind of the reprogrammed motion. And it seems impressive. He seems to be on target. Now, there is clearly and obviously a difference between being in a game, being in the crouch position, and then throwing and going through that motion. Like I'm not trying to, that's where you're spot on, not trying to dismiss that at all. But I don't want to give the impression that there hasn't been full bore throwing from Herrera, because there has been.
Yeah, I get it. But I don't know. I mean, this is me being probably just me being me, but the only way to improve throwing as a catcher is to throw as a catcher and to throw down to second base and do it with game situations and time pressure. And because it's one thing to revamp mechanics, it's another thing to do it when you're at full speed in gear with guys running.
Yes.
And my concern isn't that the throwing thing, that the rebuilt mechanics don't work. Although I have a hard time understanding how you can rebuild mechanics recovering from an injury?
They feel like they were able to.
I hope they're right, man. It's a very difficult thing to picture because, again, the only way to know if it's actually working is to be doing it at full speed and doing it for real. Otherwise, it's, a lot of things look good at half speed. A lot of things look good at 75%.
Yeah, I still think they're all in on him catching a little bit this year. And I think it's going to take him not looking good in games for them to be pushed off that position, if that makes sense.
Hey, listen, I want it to work, man, because if it does, even if it's 1 day a week, it's going to help you. It just gives you a better lineup on a day-to-day basis. And of course, on top of all of that, when you're looking at, the season, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not you know what I mean? Like, it's not, this season is not going to be live or die on whether or not he makes it behind the plate.
Well, just think about
because your team is you're rebuilding. I mean, it's the pressure to do that is not the same as it's been in past years.
This team is going to have so much flexibility because Joel Pozo is going to play more at first if he's on the major league roster.
He should not be playing first base ever. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
the bat's not good enough.
They're going to work him at first base during spring. He's starting there today. You've got Fermin and JC going to the outfield. If Herrera is still catching, I mean, there's only a handful of guys, position players on this team who have a single position. There's not many. It is a very flexible roster, for lack of a better term.
The Pozo thing at first base doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand it at all. Like, if you're playing him at first base, why aren't you playing someone else there? I'm confused.
I don't know.
Hey, look, I get it if you're just doing it for hey, we never know what's going to happen with late innings switches or injuries or whatever, but it seems like a weird thing to take a light hitter and put him at first base when you have so many other guys that could play there.
Really quickly, we're getting a bunch of comments on this, so we should probably address it. For folks wanting to hear the game, it's on 11:20 a.m. Right now. And then we're going to have SLU basketball here on 104.1 FM KMOX with coverage starting at 5:45. But there's a bunch of people asking about the game broadcast. So if you want to hear the game, that's on the AM signal 11:20. SLU basketball will be on the FM signal, so people can stop leaving comments about that.
Yeah. Also, you came here. You came to Redbird Rush Hour. What did you expect? You literally came to the stream of Redbird Rush Hour. What did you expect? Sorry. All right, we got more to get to. I want to talk more about offense, defense, Matt, and whether or not we think the priorities will shift this year, because the Cardinals, when in doubt, have always leaned towards defense. Do we think maybe that changes in a rebuild year or changing moving forward? We'll talk a bit about that coming up in a couple of minutes. First up, I want to talk to you if you're thinking about selling your home. Because, look, in today's real estate market, it's competitive, it's difficult, and the agent that you choose is mattering more now than it did before. A lot of times in the past, and I've done this, you sell your house, it's like you put it on the market, boom, it's sold. It's not like that anymore, especially if you want to get top dollar. This is why you need to call Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. You will not find anybody that's got more experience or has better systems in place to maximize your return and to get you the best possible deal. I have had the really good fortune to get to know Gloria, to know the systems. They've walked me through it. I understand how it works. It's super easy, and there's a reason why she sells homes faster and for more money than the average agent. They've got a database of thousands of buyers in waitings, and look, many of them are just looking for a home that might be like yours. Your home could be sold before you put it on the market, but you're not going to know if you don't call Gloria Liu. She's helped thousands of families over 23 years here in St. Louis. She sells about a home every other day, and a lot of agents, it's 4 or 5 a year. So if you want to go with the best, it's simple. And Gloria will sell your home at a price and in a time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy it herself. Or you can go another route. Gloria will sell your home at 100% of market value, or she will pay you the difference. Either way, you're winning in this, and she's going to get the job done for you. So very simple process. All you need to do is call 314-325-6888 to reach Gloria Liu. That's 314-325-6888, or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And as always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Traffic from the michaelsoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, if you're heading home on westbound Highway 70, things are just a little slow at the city limits. Do have a bit of a backup 94, and it's slow down the hill to Zumba. We had a recent incident there. Westbound 64, pockets approaching Kings Highway. It runs all the way out to Big Bend. It's slow Lindbergh to Ballas, slow 364 out to 70. Northbound 61, slow down about midway up from Winslow Parkway to Highway P. We had an incident just north of there. They're clearing. Southbound 270, 364 to Ladue, slow after that. No big deal until you get to south of Tesson Ferry. It's slow to 55. Southbound 55, Arsenal through Bates. You got the usual delays. South 170 at Delmar, North 170, Scudder to Airport Road. Westbound 44, you've got a little pocket through Antire. Then there's slow stuff Lewis Road out to 109. 109's been backed up in pockets north of 44 up through Rockwood Forest Ridge. We've had a couple of incidents, including a gas leak in a home in that area. There's a lot of fire equipment staged around there. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour on a Tuesday. Matt Pauley down in Jupiter. Kevin Wheeler here in St. Louis. So let's do this balance between offense and defense, Matt. We know that the previous versions of the Cardinals, when in doubt, when in crisis, when unsure, it was always we're going to lean towards defense. Didn't matter what position it was. We saw it with Michael Ciani. We can go further back, man. We can go back to Mike Schilt and the time that Randy Arozarena was tearing up AAA and instead of and Harrison Bader, by the way, at that time was one of the worst hitting outfielders in the National League. In that year, he was awful. And when they got into some trouble and when they had an injury that kind of, I think, knocked Nootbaar out of the mix, they went right back to defense. Like it really was their calling card for a long time, which to a degree was understandable because you had a pitching staff built to let people put the ball in play. So I know you're supporting that. Does that change or at least start to change? I don't mean like night and day difference, but do we start looking for more offense? Because this team is going to have to play for offense because it's not a loaded lineup. You don't really have anybody projected beyond one or two guys to even hit 20 home runs.
Yeah, absolutely. It changes. And we're seeing it change. They're making roster decisions based off the idea that a couple guys who have never played in the outfield basically are going to be able to go play in the outfield. They're still all in on Ivan Herrera catching a little bit. This is a team that is going to look at the roster and figure out the best scenario to be able to win games. And sometimes if it's a little bit of offensive upside at the cost of some defensive ability, I think they are going to do that. I think it's going to look really and this is going to be one of those things like Kevin, let's revisit this as the year goes along.
Yeah.
Because I've said over and over, I think a lot of things that happened this year are going to show us what decisions were Ali decisions and what decisions were Mo decisions.
Yeah.
So let's see how this plays out. But I think the early returns, just the fact, they literally did not sign a right-handed hitting outfielder and signed an infielder instead because they feel like a couple guys who've never played the outfield can go do it. That tells you something.
Yeah, boy, it does. This is not about the current group. It does make you shake your head still about why the previous group never put Sajasi in the outfield ever.
Yeah.
Like He's out in Memphis running around playing positions he's never going to play regularly in the big leagues because of the players you have in his way. And he's an athlete. He can run. His arm's not low. He's not have a great arm, but he's adequate to play in the outfield. He can run well enough to play center field. I think that was a big mistake by the previous group, but obviously the current group's trying to make that change.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to make good decisions. I'm not saying every decision they make is going to work out well. Look, there's a chance that JC gets out there and you just go, well, this doesn't work. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's athletic enough that he's going to be adequate out there at the very least.
I don't think there's much that's going to move me off this position. If you can play shortstop, you can play outfield.
Yeah.
Period. It doesn't mean you're going to be a lead out there, but if you can play the middle infield, you can catch fly balls. And if you can run, you can play center field.
Yeah, there's going to be some line drives.
Sure, there will be
to.
some difficult plays. There were with Tommy Edman at times when he first started doing it. Donovan probably had a couple of those when he first started doing it, but those guys are kind of proof of what I'm talking about. Those guys weren't outfielders, but they're good baseball players. And if you have the skills and the reaction time to play shortstop and second base, you have those things to play in the outfield.
And by the way, Tommy Edman got replaced defensively in the World Series, and the Dodgers probably don't win that World Series.
Boy, you're not kidding, man. They went to Pages. Yeah, they went to Andy Pages.
And he made that crazy catch out there that Tommy Edman never would have made.
Well, if he was healthy, he might. If he was healthy, he can fly, but he had a bad ankle, and that's what's still holding him back now.
I'm hearing rumors, like there's been some talk that Edman may not appear at all this year, that he may miss the
entire season. Is it that bad, huh?
That's I've just being in some conversations.
No, I believe it.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I mean, his injury's clearly bad if it's still lingering.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on there, and that's a lot of money for a guy of course, the Dodgers don't care. Most teams would be like, crap, we're spending $15 million on a guy not to play. And the Dodgers are like, whatever, we'll just sign someone else. We don't care. We've got a loaded farm system, and we got all the money in the world. So for them, it's no big deal. For most any other team, that would be a pretty big deal. But
yes.
Hey, their fortune purchases them some nice insurance. All right, buddy. I know you got to head over to the ballpark, so go do that. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. And we've got Billikens coming up a little bit later on, but we'll finish up with Redbird Rush Hour here in a couple of minutes on the other side of the news on KMOX.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
At 5:30, it's 48. Feels like 38 downtown at the Arch. The update sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. WashU is adding to its academic portfolio.
Washington University has reached an agreement with University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis to acquire its campus and the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. Pending regulatory approvals, WashU will add the College of Pharmacy as its 10th academic school following the 2026-2027 academic year and integrate select undergraduate programs into its existing offerings. The College of Pharmacy will continue to operate on its current campus. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The reward for information on where Nancy Guthrie is has been increased.
In an Instagram post, Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie says the family hopes her mother will be found alive, but they also realize she may already be gone.
But we need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million. For any information that leads us to her recovery.
Police believe Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped.
Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. We are begging you to please come forward now.
Savannah Guthrie says they are holding out for a miracle. I'm Ed Donahue.
There's a new Supreme Court ruling on mail delivery by the U.S. Postal Service, something we've been reporting on.
A divided Supreme Court has ruled that Americans cannot sue the U.S. Postal Service, even when employees deliberately refuse to deliver mail. By a 5-4 vote, the justices ruled against a Texas landlord who alleged her mail was intentionally withheld for 2 years. The landlord is Black and claims racial prejudice played a role in the postal employees' actions. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in his majority opinions that the federal law generally shields the Postal Service from lawsuits over missing, lost, and undelivered mail, includes the intentional non-delivery of mail. Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote in dissent that the immunity does not apply to situations when the decision to not deliver mail was driven by malicious reasons. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, clouds, low 39. For tomorrow, sunshine, high 53. We'll have some light rain after midnight tomorrow into Thursday morning with the high Thursday of 49. Right now, it's 48 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX for the Archives podcast. Available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, and you can pick that up at supplement superstores. And quite simply, 213 Complex is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it's doing for me and what it'll do for you. Boost the metabolism, gets it working at full go all the time. Helps with cravings, and man, that's a big deal for me. All-day focus energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. It's a great tool for achieving your goals. Get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off your 213 Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Make plans for the 2026 Home Expo presented by the Home Builders and Remodelers Association. Friday and Saturday from 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 3 at Belclair Fairgrounds in Belleville. Meet experts from 175 plus booths. Enjoy hourly giveaways, live performances, and pet adoptions with Gateway Pet Guardians. Admission and parking are free, and over 10,000 people are expected to attend. Proudly sponsored by Aloha Pools, Jacob Family Enterprises, Mid-America Cabinet Refacing, McCullough Flooring, and many more. Get all the details at hbrmea.org.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, guys, welcome back into Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley had to jet because he's heading over to the ballpark. The Cardinals and the Nationals going at it tonight. Actually got a weird night game mixed in there, so that's the way it is. By the way, if you want to listen to that game, you're welcome to do it. It's on our AM station. It's on 1120, the old school KMOX, so you can pick it up there. We've got Billikens basketball coming up here, so 5:45 for the pregame show, 6 o'clock for the opening tip. Another big game for the Bills. So we got double the fun on KMOX tonight. A little baseball and a little Billikens. And by the way, the Cards are down 1-0 in the third inning in case you're worried about the score there. Andre Palante is on the mound. It looks like Washington somehow has scored a run without a hit. Spring training, man, is what happened. Oh, there you go. You had a walk, a stolen base, and it looks like a ground out and another. I think it was a ground into double play. So they have a run. No, there you go. Yeah, they got a ground out of some kind, maybe a fly out, whatever. So either way, it's a weird little run, and it's 1-0 here early in the game. So you can tune to that on 11:20 if you want to. A couple quick things from the stream I want to throw out there, and then we'll wrap it up and get you ready for Billikens basketball. We've got this is a good one from Justin. I thought this was interesting. The Cardinals should sign a backup first baseman, is what Justin sends us. You can't really afford to do that, Justin. You can't have like this was the problem with Luke and Baker. The problem with Luke and Baker as a backup first baseman was that he was never going to play first base because Wilson Contreras was the everyday guy. He wasn't going to DH because Ivan Herrera was the everyday DH, and he will probably be the primary DH this year. So if you have somebody that really only plays first base, they just have nothing to do because Alec Burleson's going to play there most of the time. If not every day, it's going to be damn near it. And I think the better thing that, when we were talking about this, I was kind of venting about playing Pozo at first base. I don't see putting a non-power hitter in there who swings at everything and doesn't draw walks and plays at first. I don't see the benefit to that. I would rather see Gorman and Herrera. Now Herrera's hurt, so this is an exception for right now. But I would rather see guys like Gorman, Herrera, Sajasi, those kind of guys get those reps at first base as your backup if you need to give Burley a day off or you need him in the outfield or whatever. I think there are a bunch of guys. Heck, I bet Ramon Urias can play first base pretty easily. He's a quality infielder at second and third base. Probably a bit of a stretch for him at shortstop, but he can play second and third very well. I would have no hesitation putting him at first base if I needed someone to step in there. So I think that's more of it. You want other infielders or other players that can slide in there that are useful in other ways, which is kind of why, and Matt's hinted at this, and I do like the way that the roster is shaping up depending on who makes the team with guys like Fermin and Sajasi, who can play all over the infield and in the outfield. Those are the valuable bench guys. And the Cardinals have been great in the past at developing those. I mean, essentially, that's what Tommy Edman was. That's how they used Brendan Donovan. Now, they weren't backups, where I think Sajasi and Fermin this year project more as reserves than regulars. They could change that with performance, but it's kind of how it projects. Where, Edman and Donovan were definitely regulars just moving around. But those guys have that same kind of skill set. Those are the people you want to be able to move around. And I know that the timing was pretty bad on Herrera having to deal with recovering from an elbow injury during an off season where you want to get better at throwing runners out and you want to get reps behind the plate as many as you can to get better at managing a game, calling a game, and all of that. And also, if you would have been able to find out the throwing thing wasn't going to get fixed, he could probably use some time at first base because you'd hate to see him pigeonholed as a DH this early into his career. Anyway, we'll see it all play out. Whatever complaints we might have right now are valid. They may not be valid in 2 weeks because they may not keep on happening. All right, stick around, man. We got Billikens basketball coming up top of the hour, pregame at 5:45 here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com.